Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 2025 Establishment Mayoral Candidate Forum presented by Rainier Avenue Radio. Here, yeah, you can. Thank you. We are here at the historic Columbia City Theater. Columbia City Theater is Seattle's oldest and first vaudeville theater, by the way. 109 years old, and coming up in about 6 months, it'll be 110. Some of the folks who performed in this theater include Jimi Hendrix, Quincy Jones, Ray Charles, Fats Waller, Duke Ellington, Sarah Vaughan, Nirvana, Sir Mix-a-Lot. I can go on and on and on. All of them before they were famous. My name is Tony Benton, and I am proud to be your host for tonight. You can applaud for that, too. As the founder of Rainier Avenue Radio, I want to thank each and every one of you, whether you're here in the theater or if you are tuning in across our broadcast platforms, for participating in this vital community conversation. Tell you a little bit about Rainier Avenue Radio. Rainier Avenue Radio was created to amplify voices that often go unheard, to provide hyper-local news, music, civic dialogue, and community empowerment, especially in Seattle's South End and communities of color. We tell the stories that matter to us by us. This forum is just one of the ways we're helping to keep our community informed, engaged, and active in the democratic process, and there's more coming your way this summer and fall. Rainier Avenue Radio will continue to present live music, local film screenings, cultural celebrations, and community town hall meetings and further panel debates as we move past the primaries as well, right here at the Columbia City Theater. So why is tonight important? Because local elections matter. The decisions made by Seattle's next mayor will help shape housing, policing, climate policy, economic development, youth services, transportation, and how our neighborhoods recover, grow, and thrive. These issues affect our day-to-day lives more directly than national politics. So tonight, listen, ask questions, and we'll hold those seeking our votes accountable. Let's make this a meaningful evening. Right now, I would like to introduce to you, and I will let them share a little bit about themselves, our panelists for the evening. So we'll be having panelist questions. I'll ask a couple questions. We've got a mic over there that's going to be for audience engagement and questions as well. So even if you don't have a question and you just want to make a statement, you can even make a statement. Now, I'm going to be kind of making sure that we stay on time. So if you go a little bit long, I'm going to cut you off. Please be respectful because we only have so much time. We got a packed house. We got a bunch of candidates up here that people want to hear from. So our first panelist is from the Seattle Chamber of Commerce, Rachel Smith.
Hello, everybody. My name is Rachel Smith. I'm the president and CEO of the Seattle Metropolitan Chamber of Commerce. We are a regional organization representing about 2,500 businesses, and about 80% of them are small businesses, so 100 employees or less. I myself used to work in government for a long time. I like to say I'm recovering from government, where I spent nearly 15 years. So I totally agree that local elections matter a lot. They matter even more than some of our federal elections, and I'm looking forward to this evening.
Thank you. And our next panelist is Ollie Garrett, Executive Director of Tabor 100.
Good evening. I'm Ollie Garrett, President and CEO of Tabor 100. And Tabor 100 is an association of entrepreneurs and business advocates. We have probably over 600 members that are small, minority-owned businesses and people that are interested in helping and working with women and minority-owned businesses.
Thank you, Ollie. Thank you, Rachel. We are going to go ahead and get started. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to start with for opening their opening statement, basically. And whatever that opening statement is, There are no rules about what that should mean, whether they should explain their platform, their background, issues that are important or concerning to them. I will let them use 2 minutes to decide that. I would like to draw your attention to Nancy. Nancy is your timekeeper. Nancy will be showing you when you have 30 seconds left with a card. If you're not looking or you're not paying attention, at 10 seconds, you will hear this. Yes, that annoying sound is to say that you have 10 seconds left. So again, we're going to start off with 2 minutes, and we're going to see how the time goes. Yes. Okay, can you cut that off until we... at the bottom, down lower, down lower. There you go. So the reason, when someone comes up to ask a question, I will have to cut that back on because you will be on camera and we need the light. And then so we'll cut it back then. I'm sorry for blinding you, but we want to make sure that whoever is asking a question has their opportunity to be heard and seen by y'all, but not just by y'all, but all the folks who are watching the live stream from literally everywhere as well. So I'm not going to do this in any particular order. I'm going to start with you, Joe, and I hope each of you don't mind if I address you by your first names as we move forward here. And you have 2 minutes, and your 2 minutes, Nancy, are you ready? Your 2 minutes will start now.
Thank you, Tony. I really appreciate you hosting this, and Rainier Avenue Radio as well. You guys have been very good to me, and thank you on behalf of the entire community for what you've done to preserve this wonderful space. It's a fantastic space. I'm Joe Mallahan. I'm running for mayor of Seattle because I think Seattle people have our residents have great values, and we're very generous as voters, and we're not getting an ROI on our investment. And God bless the mayor. He has been very cordial. I have been criticizing him very strongly. I don't believe the mayor has a vision for solving homelessness. While we've had some successes in housing, we have a ton of unhoused, 5,000 to 7,000 unhoused people. The vast majority suffering addiction, and Joe, one of our colleagues, is unhoused himself, and he debates me on this. But I have talked to 25 unhoused people in the city of Seattle, sitting down on the sidewalk and interviewing them, and they're all suffering from addiction. All the ones I talked to, maybe 2 had mental health and addiction issues. And I think we have to build a bunch of tiny homes, tiny home villages, and otherwise create housing. The mayor of Portland, he's been in office for 6 months, and he added 3,000 emergency beds. We need to get people off the streets and have them recover from the trauma of their homelessness, and then press them to deal with their addictions. That's the only solution. I also think there's big opportunities to improve the police. The police are demoralized, they're understaffed. We're spending $100 million on overtime and $50,000 for every recruit as a signing bonus. I think that has a lot to do with the management of the police department, and I hope to talk more about that later. Thanks so much.
Thank you. And we will go directly to our next candidate, who's the mayor.
Thank you, Tony. Whoa. Thank you for being here, because you care about the city as much as I do. And for those that don't know me, I began my public service actually in 1979 working for the city council under a council president, Paul Crabble. And, this job, this pathway to become your mayor, I didn't get a head start on this job. Like many of you, there are many impediments to my progress. My wife and I have had several challenges in our life for the last 30 plus years, but we fight. We work hard. We hold our city and our country accountable as patriots. I'm asking you to give me another term because we have got some great things in progress when you actually look at what we've done. For example, we've invested in my administration over $1 billion in affordable housing. And more importantly, you all passed a levy for $970 million. With our budget restraints, we still put $343 million in housing. We've built in my administration over 33,000 units, 6,500 which are affordable, because my mom and dad could not live in this city right now. They didn't go to college. As I said, my pathway to this job was not easy. I will tell you that I talk about the police department, where we're getting 4,000 applications a year. Compared to 2020, we only had 700. 10 applications a day, because I want all communities to be safe. Underrepresented communities, Black communities, brown communities, everyone to feel safe. And if you look at that coupled with the education levy that you'll have a choice to vote on, when we're looking at childcare and pre-kindergarten slots, we'll have close to 4,500 new slots. So we've set a foundation to be the city we want to be, and we are ready. Why? Because we're fighters here in Seattle. We're kind, we're well-read, we're smart, but we're fighters. And I'm going to fight for you on my next term just as much as I did this first term. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Isaiah just joined us. Isaiah, this is going to be really quick for you. You're going to have 2 minutes for an opening statement, and then we're going to go to the next candidate. I'll explain more to you as we go along. So right now, you have 2 minutes. The timekeeper, Nancy, can you make yourself seen to Isaiah? And she's going to give you 30 seconds. She'll wave a card. And when it's 10 seconds left, you'll hear this. That means stop. All right? So right now, you have 2 minutes, and your 2 minutes begin right now.
Hello, my name is Isaiah Willoughby. So I'm from South Seattle. I grew up here from Willow Street. My mom lives here on the 44th and Willow. I'm a Franklin Quaker. I played soccer at Rainier Beach. I ran for City Council District 2 in 2023. So this is my district right here. I just graduated college of applied science real estate degree. I got a property management certificate last year. I got a broker's license. I'm a CHOP protester. So this is my home, and I'm running for mayor to get gentrification and everything under control in my neighborhood. Across the Willow Street, they're building multi-dwelling units. They're building 8 townhomes. We own 3 parcels, and we're just not trying to sell out our property. So I'm just trying to represent District 2, but I'm running for mayor right now. Thank you.
Thank you. And our next candidate.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Thaddeus Whelan, and just before I get into it, I want to first thank all of the staff up top and everyone here who's actually helping operate this event. I've been on that side of that, and I genuinely do not envy you at this very moment. For all of you, my name is Thaddeus Whelan. I am a veteran, an Ivy League graduate, and now a federal worker. I currently work for the FAA as the floorboards are being torn out from underneath me by the Trump administration. The reason I am here and the reason why I want to be your mayor is because I have seen firsthand what the Trump administration and the federal government is doing to hurt everybody in this country. And I've seen, in particular, what the municipal government is not doing to protect our communities. During my time as a public policy researcher, researched the Seattle Police Officers Guild. That was my thesis. That was what I spent an entire year of my life on. And I'm genuinely happy to be on this stage right now because, like the mayor said, we in Seattle fight, and the people on this stage spoke truth to power. Every day this stage had someone on it, they were saying something that someone didn't want to hear, especially those in power. And that's why I have to stand in front of you as a mayoral candidate. I wanted to work within the Seattle city government. I wanted to make it better from the inside. They didn't take me. And it is because of the Seattle Police Officers Guild and their chokehold on our city's government. I'm working to change that. I've studied the entirety of their systems, and I hope to bring that knowledge to you. Thank you.
Thank you. And our next candidate.
Yeah, hello. My name is Joe Molloy. Thank you, Tony. I have a friend that produces a Rainier Avenue radio show, so I appreciate what you're doing here. Yeah, I love it. It is a very hot day today. Yes. How many of you had access to running water? Just out of curiosity, is that just about everybody? A bathroom? Yeah, maybe a little personal, I'm sorry, but a shower? Yeah. So there are just about 10,000 people living in our city unsheltered, homeless and unsheltered, as by definition, right? That don't have access to these same things. And it is our marginalized communities that are most at risk for the epidemic that we're facing. The city is in a state of emergency. We're in an actual crisis. As Joe said, I lost my housing last year. So for the last year, I've lived in a tent in a place called Tent City 3 because that's been the best option available to me. There are no shelter services. There is no access to low-income housing for somebody who's not on drugs, for somebody who doesn't have a family or kids. And even those now, over the last 6 months, have become increasingly pinched with the closing of Mary's Place and with the closing of other shelters. We face a multifaceted crisis, and I am the only person on this stage willing to treat it like the state of emergency that it really is. We don't act with urgency in this city about this issue in particular, and it's hurting all of us. We can be honest about that. Nobody wants homelessness here. It's hurting all of us. And to another point, I'm not here to debate anybody about any issues. I'm here to share my perspective as a person living on the actual front lines. It is not homelessness that create, or drugs that create homelessness. It's homelessness that drives drug addiction. So we have to put the equation in the proper order in order to actually solve it. And it takes lived experience and real perspective for us to be able to do that. Thank you.
And our next candidate.
Hi, everyone. Hello, there it is. Hi, everyone. My name is Ry Armstrong. I'm proud to stand in front of you as a third-generation rank-and-file union worker. My grandfather spent his entire life cutting and filleting fish down on the waterfront and in Ballard until at the end of his life, the PLS in his hands stopped him from being able to open his fingers. My grandmother was one of the first women to graduate from aeronautical engineering in 1951 at UW, and so I stand in heels and also on their shoulders tonight. I am proud to be here as a representative of the LGBTQIA+ community. I jumped into this race because I saw a country going backwards and backwards, and I think trans people should stand up and not be afraid in 2025. I also saw a Green New Deal not being prioritized in our budget. And so I want to see true leadership acting as if climate emergency is here because it is. Look at today, right? I'm also the co-executive director of Sustainable Seattle. So we just won back an EPA grant against the Trump administration in the courts. And I've been actively managing multi-million-dollar budgets with that nonprofit, fighting in the South End right here for more tree canopy and making sure that we're addressing actual air pollution in our city. The issues are vast. And the number one thing I've heard from people is housing. I've called over 6,000 voters so far, and the affordability of housing is the number one issue. So we have to address that with new tools like social housing and making sure that we can have success. Second, I'd love to see an expanded care team. The care team is only 24 people citywide because of the SPOG contract, and we need a true alternative response that's focused on medical outreach, not just so many people showing up with guns. And then finally, childcare. On average, it's $4,000 a month for childcare in this city. And we could change our land use laws to make sure that every child and every family thrives here in Seattle. I'd love for you to join our campaign. We're the only campaign still accepting democracy vouchers before the primary. And you can go to armstrongforall.com to check out more. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ry. As I mentioned before, Katie Wilson said she would be a little late. Initially, she said she couldn't make it, but then she rearranged her schedule that she could be here. So as soon as she gets here, we'll get her on stage. Before we begin, I'd like to take a moment to explain tonight's format and what you can expect. Each candidate will have an opportunity to answer a series of questions covering key issues that matter to our communities. These include public safety and policing, affordable housing and homelessness, transportation and infrastructure, youth services and education, climate and environmental justice, economic development, and equity. Candidates will have 2 minutes. I might reduce that to 1 minute because we're going to run out of time. I hate to have people speak in sound bites, but I want to get as many questions in as possible. And we'll rotate the order to ensure fairness. We'll also include a lightning round of rapid questions where candidates will be asked to respond briefly, potentially yes or no to rapid fire questions. And we're also going to take audience questions as well. Or if you want to make a statement, and this is a big part of what we are wanting to do here at Rainier Avenue Radio, at this forum is make sure that we hear from you. Questions have came from you, from our panelists, but we still want to hear your voice as well. This is not a debate. Tonight is about information and engagement, and we ask all participants and audience members to respect the process and each other so that we can focus on what really matters, understanding where these candidates stand and how their leadership would shape the future of Seattle. If you think that you would have a comment or a question, I'm going to ask you to potentially line up over here, and we're going to get started. And we'll get started with Rachel, who will be asking the first question. This question will be something that will be answered by each of you. And we're going to work our way through this. There's also a rebuttal opportunity. Rebuttals will be limited to 30 seconds. And we're not going to go back and forth too much. But if you feel like you have to say something about something that's said that somebody else said, I'm going to be kind of controlling that, and we'll make that happen because I do want this to be a conversation as well. So you feel free if there's something that you want to respond to. It'll just be limited to 30 seconds. And Rachel.
Wonderful. Thank you. Well, as I said, I'm the government person here, so I'm going to ask a government question. One of the things that we hear most from our businesses, large and small, across the city is that they just really want government to function well and efficiently. What in your professional experience has prepared you to manage the city? You know, $8.5 billion budget, 26 departments, 14,000 employees. And if you don't have any direct professional experience, how would you approach managing the city?
Isaiah, we're going to start with you.
Hello? Hello. So this is my district. This is District 2. My mom lives here. I'm from here. This is homegrown. I'm the only candidate from this district running to represent the whole city of Seattle. I'm your neighbor. I'm your family. I'm your brother. I live here. I walk through here. So what qualifies me, I just graduated college, applied science real estate degree from North Seattle College. I got a property management certificate. I know conditional zone permits. I know fair housing law. I know tenant laws. I know gentrification. I have a real estate license. I know how to negotiate tenant lease agreements. So I know displacement. I know the gentrification. We own 2 parcels right here on Willow Street. So I know how they're increasing our property value, or they're building apartments and non-affordable housing. So this is my district, and I just qualify because I have a degree and I'm passionate. This is where I'm from, and I'm capable of leading this city because I'm from here. I'm the only candidate from Seattle. A couple of us. Thank you.
And Joe, we'll go. Do you need the question repeated, or are you good?
You guys, there we go. Thank you. You know, my pitch is I'm the change maker that Seattle needs. I've been a change maker for 30 years. I started as a community organizer in Chicago with the Industrial Areas Foundation, the same group that Jamila and the other guy, Barack Obama, organized with the same group. I brought 10,000 people together to create a community organization that pressed the city of Chicago on issues of homelessness and immigrant rights and immigrant health care. I then spent 30 years as a corporate leader. I turned around 2 mid-sized businesses dramatically, and then I went to T-Mobile, where I was head of corporate strategy, senior vice president of marketing, and many other roles. And one of the biggest things I did there, I stood shoulder to shoulder with the front line. I went to 10 different call centers, and I asked the call center reps, hey, I'm trying to solve the problem of credit levels, giving low-income people credit access. And a young man in Colorado Springs gave me this fantastic idea. I brought it back to Seattle. I mustered a team of over 500 people who didn't report to me. And in a matter of months, we delivered a product that allowed 10 million more people a year to access wireless rates at the same price that wealthy people do. That impacted the entire industry. So my leadership and my team and the really smart people that I hired and developed delivered this and changed the wireless industry so that everybody in America gets the same rates for wireless service. And I'm very, very proud of that. I'm a change maker. I got a big heart and put it in my nose. I got a big heart and a hard nose, and I know how to use my loving heart to drive change. Even when people oppose me, I know how to bring them together and get on my side. Thanks very much.
And Bruce, no disrespect. I know you're the mayor. Just like I said, I'm going to call everybody by their first name. Would you like the question repeated, or are you good?
I'm good.
Okay.
Did I just use up some of my time on that? Okay. So, Jackie Robinson said for him, when he broke the color barrier, he says, excellence is not the exception, it's the norm. And I've tried to prepare for this job my entire life. And I mean that by, if you look at my legislative record on the city council, I sponsored over 800 bills, good policy, the race and social justice law, banning the box such that people that had been convicted or charged with a crime couldn't be considered for a job. Becoming a human rights city, so important right now under the Declaration of Human Rights. I've been preparing for this job because right now in 2025, the stakes are incredibly high with the president we have in office. I was elected twice to the city council as president with a majority of women there because they know how I lead. I try to serve first. The Rainier Valley Community Development Fund is a fund that we started over 20 years ago when light rail came here because it was supposed to be below grade. I helped form it. I served as executive director. I know how to lead. I know how to serve. And anyone that works with me know that you got to keep up with my pace. I will say that when I was at US West, I became a chief counsel. And in that capacity, I had the fortune to meet my wife. But I went back and got a master's degree in organizational design and improvement because I wanted to know how systems work. When it's on the city council, I realized dealing with people is one of the biggest challenges of a mayor. So I went back and took a 4-hour class to get certified as a senior certified human resource professional. I take the craft very seriously because the stakes are high. You talk about affordability in this city, I will do everything possible to keep people like my mom and dad here. I don't know, Joe, your story as to why you're homeless, but I know countless friends that have unfortunately found themselves in that situation. And I will use every ounce of energy that I have to fight for everyone to make sure they are housed and sheltered. These are complex issues and the stakes are high, and that's why I'm running for re-election.
Thank you. Thaddeus, would you like the question repeated, or are you good?
I think I'm qualified for a multitude of reasons, but the first one that I'd like to bring up is that I am not weary of my years inside of public office. There is a belief, and there is a front that many of my colleagues here, Joe and Bruce both, they have been in these systems for decades. They have seen how they work, and they have decided that there is an operational boundary that they have to be within. I don't believe that. I sit here as both a federal worker and as a young person seeing everything that is going on within our country, and I want to be able to believe that there can be more. And I think Seattle believes that there can be more. And that's why when it comes to being the chief executive of Seattle, that's why we have 15,000 city employees that work tirelessly every single day to make certain our water runs, our lights stay on. Everything that happens in the city is because of people that like I work with, who have collectively millennia of knowledge and want to make the city better. And to this idea of sponsoring bills and being a part of different initiatives, the people who wrote those bills were municipal workers. They were staffers. They were people who worked like me. The sponsorship was only the leadership portion. But the people who wrote those and the people who wanted to make your life better wrote those in a way that would try and do everything that they possibly could. And then politicians drug it back because it wasn't politically viable to their donors. I stand here as a federal worker saying that we can do better by unshackling our city government, by unshackling our city workers, and making certain that they have the ability to make everybody's lives better. Thank you.
Thank you, Thaddeus. I think if Marcella is up there, Isaiah didn't get a water. Can you bring a water to the stage from up there, or who's ever up there? Thank you, and we'll go to our next candidate. Joe, would you like the question repeated, or are you good?
Sure. I think just to remind everybody, yeah.
Wait 1 sec. Sam?
One of the things that we hear often from our members, large and small, in all parts of the city, is that they want government to function well and efficiently. What in your professional experience has prepared you to manage the city? And if you don't have any direct professional experience, how would you approach the management of the city?
So if the goal is a government that functions well, right, simple enough, then we need clear goals, clear lines of communication, and we need to be empowering everyone from the citizen all the way up to the municipal workers to be able to take action, right? I'll use a little bit of example from my direct experience inside of the homeless services industry. I was a mutual aid worker on the ground for years before losing my housing to disability. I've mentioned it a couple times before, but yeah, it was to disability. And there aren't services available to folks like myself. What we have is essentially a piecemeal operation system. So the coordinated entry system will work like this. You go in and you talk to somebody and they tell you, thanks for being here. We got your information. Now you have to go talk to somebody else, right? And then you go try to find that person and they say, actually, I'm busy. I have a full caseload. The first person, the first group, never communicated to the next, right? The same thing happens inside of our emergency services distribution. We have multiple lines of communication that go out to our different networks of essentially like critical care emergency service providers. So we're missing clear goals and clear lines of communication. And that's why we're operating in a way that it feels piecewise and it feels broken. It feels like it takes a long time for things to go through a full circuit because that circuit is not properly connected. And to understand where those connections are broken, we need to talk to the people who are working with them on the daily. So what I reference is from my personal experience being unhoused. What I talk about through the emergency services is what I've heard from police officers on the ground, that sometimes we get information from here, sometimes it's from there, it's all over. So that's what thank you.
And Ry, would you like the question repeated or are you good?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay.
Just to respond to Isaiah, I'm also from and born and raised in Seattle. I also want to say that I think managing a government is hard. We have a lot of departments that don't talk to each other, but we need someone in the government that's looking at those efficiencies to make sure those silos can be broken down. I also have a master's in sustainable development, and I think that those systems have to be mapped out and embrace new technology of today. I was shadowing the dispatchers at 911, and we have community safety officers and care team members doing duplicative work. And they're like, oh, who do we send? Oh, whoever may be available. And then people argue or point fingers. Oh, that's the county. Oh, that's the state. Oh, that's the city. We just can't do that anymore. It becomes inefficient for our people. And then finally, in terms of experience, I'm elected to my union's national council. So I oversee 50,000 creative economy workers on a $75 million budget for our entire union. And we have negotiated, and I've been in those rooms, negotiating against places like Disney for IVF and egg freezing benefits covered in our health insurance. I have been in those rooms fighting for our union workers. And I think we need someone in City Hall who's going to actually ask questions about those systems and then move towards action. Seattle has an analysis paralysis problem where we hire a committee to make a task force, to make a consultant, look at a survey, and we don't actually get things done. So as someone who wants to make real change, I think that is what we need in a leader for the next 4 years here in Seattle. Someone who's going to go in there and question things and actually make momentum happen. And that's what I plan to do in the mayor's office.
Thank you. Ollie, next question for our candidates. And Joe, will you receive this question first?
So we've been hearing a lot of you all saying what the issues are. I want to hear from you, what is your plan to address the issues? So starting out, and I've heard a lot of conversation on housing and homelessness, what is your plan to address the issue?
Hello. Ollie, could I just ask one clarifying? You asked just about homelessness, or are you asking for all the issues that we're talking about? Just homelessness. Okay. So yeah, to the mayor's credit, to the city's credit, we've added a lot of additional affordable housing and a lot of housing. But what I never hear the mayor talking about is how to deal with people suffering addiction and mental health crises on the streets. And I have talked in every one of these about tiny home villages. Tiny home villages are cheap, they're effective, they've been proven in Austin and Detroit and in Baltimore. And when I talked to the mayor about it, his response, and Bruce, you can react to this, but he says, hey, 85% of the tiny homes in King County are in Seattle, and the county should be doing more. We have the homeless here in Seattle. We need to address it. The other thing is I think we need to modify our harm reduction approach. We spend tens of millions of dollars caring for those suffering addiction, but we're not coaxing them into treatment. And all y'all have relatives and dear friends who've suffered addiction, and intervention of one sort or another is really kind of necessary to get people to move on that. The vast majority of the homeless are individuals. They have no social structure. The only social structure they have is to share their addiction on the streets with fellow addicts. And the way to overcome that is to put wraparound services in a tiny home village or in other emergency housing. That's what I would do. Again, I'm a true change maker, y'all. I have a huge heart, and I'm an innovator too. So I don't know what we're talking about. That I've been working for 30 years. But if you read about me, read what the Seattle Times wrote about me 15 years ago, the last time I ran and lost to Mike McGinn. I apologize for that. I am an innovator. And I love people. I know how to develop people. I know how to develop systems. We just got to come together and stand shoulder to shoulder with each other and get these problems solved.
And we'll go to you, Bruce. Would you like the question repeated, or are you good?
No, I'm good. I think the question was, what's the plan? And so there's several plans, but first it's embedded in our comprehensive plan first, which is really tough policy work that that my administration's done, which is the blueprint for the next 20 years on where we should build. Remember, we're the fourth fastest growing city in the country. And in that particular plan, you'll see that we have close to 37,000 homes in that plan, embedded in where we build, I should say. Our neighborhood center strategy looks at the 84 square miles. And we look at places like out on Aurora, for example, we have a Northern Life project. We looked at Fort Lawton, that we negotiated a very aggressive plan to put affordable units in Fort Lawton. We have to figure out where we can build to accommodate this growth. And that's what we've done in our comp plan, number one. Number two, if you look at the levy that we passed, it was very aggressive in terms of what we're trying to build. 3,100 affordable homes by 2030, keeping 9,000 people in their homes. Remember, that is one of the best things we could do as we address homelessness. I would also suggest that I've said repeatedly that these large corporations that are extracting money out of these cities, they have a moral obligation, and I would suggest even a legal obligation, to help us along these causes. So when you see me raising money for these corporations because money is a finite resource, that's part of the strategy. We have decided as a city on homelessness to invest in a regional approach, the King County Regional Homelessness Authority. And I know that Pastor Kerry Anderson is here. He served on the implementation board, and I want to thank you for that work. And you are right, 85% of the tiny homes are in Seattle. It's a recommended policy for us for transition housing to get someone off the streets. And I am very vocal, and you'll see motions made trying to make sure that our neighboring cities will do more. If we embrace a regional approach, I need regional assistance. That is part of the job of a mayor, is to make sure everyone else participates in the RHA.
Thaddeus.
So to the idea of the comp plan, because that is truly where a lot of the rubber meets the road when it comes to actually combating homelessness. The levy plan and the identity of the comp plan was scaled back, in particular from the in this recent budget system, in the recent comp plan voting. It was scaled back from its actual production from the policy team within the Seattle city government. Understand that. That's someone looking at the people that I work with and saying, That's too much. We can't do that. I don't trust you on that. And we can't be doing that. These people are experts. I trust them with running the planes every day. I trust them to get there to keep themselves on top of it, and we should trust them to do this the same way. On top of this, a lot of this has come down to two major factors when it comes to homelessness, because homelessness is not something that just happens. It's a tiered process of someone being partially homeless, someone going couch to couch, someone being entirely homeless, someone who doesn't have a home, and finally someone who is completely unhoused, someone who literally doesn't have anything to put over their heads. And all of this comes down to creating a system and lowering to that lowers rent so that people don't fall into that in the first place. This is why I was the first candidate to actually introduce the idea of a vacancy tax here, to make certain that the systems internal to our city are actually pushing these corporations to make a quote unquote market rate rather than entirely raising those rents, to make certain that someone doesn't fall out of those systems entirely. And finally, internal to all of that is making certain that these empty lots, these spaces where individuals, I should say corporations, are just sitting on money waiting for it to grow. I'll talk about that later. Thank you very much.
And Joe, do you need the question repeated or you?
No, thank you. Yeah, sorry. Some of this is odd to hear. We need to address homelessness honestly, first and foremost. This is an emergency. We don't treat it like one. We have yet to do that as a city. And I can stand here and share my perspective and state facts, and we still have candidates who are willing to echo rhetoric that comes from like propaganda machines. Homelessness is not a drug problem. It's a housing and systemic problem, right? Most people that I know that are experiencing homelessness have robust social circles. The social circle is not responsible for housing. That's not how this works, right? So our campaign, if empowered to address homelessness, would first and foremost treat it like an emergency with a triage network of caseworkers. 300 plus caseworkers out on the street, meeting people, putting them into a system that the same guy that I mentioned that runs the radio show here, Seeking Change, introduced a divergent management information system. So it's to keep people inside and to keep people stabilized. Our current homelessness system is built to perpetuate homelessness. It's not built to end it. We need the real goal of getting people off the street and inside. We need to treat housing like a human right. Seattle leads the nation in unsheltered homelessness. As in, there is not another city that has more people that are sleeping in tents, sleeping in tiny homes, sleeping in cars, or sleeping rough on the streets. We lead the nation in that. Why do we not care to the level that we should? Treat it like an emergency, bring in caseworkers, open 2,000 new shelter beds in the first 30 days, 60 days. These are all doable things. And then bring in a UBI program that actually pairs alongside with community development so that we can see small businesses grows as people stabilize. Thank you.
Thank you. Ry, would you like the question repeated or are you good?
No, thank you, sir. I'm good. I'm going to focus on solutions because that was the question, and what's the actual plan? We could establish a vacancy tax and change our behavior downtown from a third vacancy to actually a vitalized city, which could include more sales tax revenue, which could then generate more funds for the city. I also would love to see a tax on corporate ownership of homes in this city. Corporations have bought up so many single-family homes during the pandemic when interest rates were so low, and they are continuing to profit off of our communities that want to grow up and have a family in this city. And that's not okay in my book. I ran away from Seattle to New York when I was 21. And I spent about 3 weeks living on the A train in parks on couches and experiencing kind of the cusp and borderline of what homelessness looks like. And there are so many people on that same fringe who are living in our city who are just at that cusp. Medicaid cuts coming down the pike. Our city is headed towards a really hard time. And I think we have to come together as a community and find those solutions. I sat down at Cafe Vita with Frank Chop, who did a lot of this work at the state level. And I said, Frank, teach me. And he's like, here's my packet. And he gave me all of his plans he was working on. He loved to talk about that stuff. And we have so many city, county, or state land that we can zone with tiny homes. I think we have 150 to 200 sitting in Soda that have been manufactured that just need to be put somewhere. So we need to demand the political will to actually start having more movement on shelter housing and then creating that pipeline for more standardizations of getting people a roof over their heads. That's the number one thing. Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you have to have that to survive. So if Seattle wants to thrive, let's get it done. And that's what I plan to do.
Thank you. Katie, I'm going to give you 1 minute for an opening statement. Everyone else got 2 minutes. You're a little late, so that's what you get. And then I'll have the question repeated, and then you'll have 2 minutes to answer that question. So first of all, 1 minute, and your timekeeper is Nancy right there, and she's got a card. So 1 minute for an opening statement.
Thank you. I'll take what I can get. Katie Wilson, running for Seattle mayor. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. I'm sorry that I was late. I had another engagement. I'm running for mayor because I know that we can do better. I've spent the last 14 years of my career building and managing large coalitions to win major victories that benefit working families. Everything from the highest minimum wage in the country in Tequila and other cities around the county, stronger renter protections in 8 cities around the county, including Seattle, more affordable public transit through the Orca Lift program and other reduced and free fare programs. And I led on designing and passing the Jumpstart Payroll Expense Tax, our city's landmark tax on wealthy corporations, which prevented devastating service cuts during the pandemic. I'm running for mayor because there are so many issues in our city that need better leadership. We deserve a mayor who, 10 seconds. I think I'll just go into answering can you repeat the question?
Okay.
First
Ollie,
question.
would you repeat the question, please?
My question, and you missed it, but it was a lot of conversation around what the issues are. So the first issue that I asked a question on is, what is the plan to address housing and homelessness?
Okay. This is a great question, and this really speaks to what it means to have an affordable and a livable city. Right now, we are failing, and we cannot afford to keep failing. As mayor, I will tackle the housing crisis with everything I've got. That means making sure that our land use and zoning laws are encouraging the private market to build more housing, and especially family-sized housing in great neighborhoods around the city. That means the city being an active partner with Seattle's new social housing developer, which voters have twice told us overwhelmingly they want to see succeed, and which our current mayor opposed. That means strengthening renter protections for renters who are struggling with rising rents. And that means investing in affordable homeownership programs so that young families who want to build a life here can afford to do so. Let's talk about homelessness. We have more people sleeping unsheltered on our streets today than ever before. And we have lost shelter capacity every single year in the last 4 years. We cannot afford to have those numbers continue to go up. I remember back in 2015 when the city first declared a civil state of emergency on homelessness, and things have only gotten worse. We need to rapidly expand shelter. That means tiny homes. That could mean municipal rent vouchers. We need to give it everything we've got, and we need to get people inside, integrated with the treatment and the support that they need to be successful there. We can do better, and we must do better. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to have a potential for rebuttal. This will be 30 seconds. Joe, 30 seconds.
Just 30 seconds. So Katie and I are largely on the same page. Joe and I have an agreement that we have a crisis. I think addiction plays a lot bigger role than Joe does. But the mayor twice today has answered the question about how he's addressing homelessness by going to the binder and pointing to 37,000 units. That's all the units that are built for housing for all Seattleites. He has no vision and no plan to deal with the public safety implications of addicts on the street.
Bruce, do you want to respond to that? You'll have 30 seconds, or you could choose not to.
That doesn't work.
Okay. Thaddeus, 30 seconds.
Joe, I really do enjoy you. You have some fantastic energy, but I do just need to correct this record for the homeless of this city entirely. There is no statistical correlation between drug use leading to homelessness. As the other Joe, the correct Joe, has stated, it is the opposite direction. Being homeless leads you to drug addiction. I would genuinely ask any of you.
Oh, I'm sorry, Thaddeus. You had 30 seconds. I'm going to cut this off. I'm not going to let it go on too long unless somebody really has something else they want to add to this point of the conversation. Okay, we're going to move on, and I'm sorry if somebody said something I couldn't hear you. Oh, you raised. Did you have a rebuttal? Oh, that's right, Isaiah. No rebuttal. That's right, Isaiah didn't answer the question.
Anything. I'm just waiting to answer the solution.
Isaiah, the question. Would you like it repeated, please?
What is your plan to address the challenges of affordable housing, homelessness in Seattle?
All right, so I'm gonna say one thing. I agree with Bruce Harrell on one thing. Seattle cannot have all the tiny homes. Like, we have 85% of tiny homes. I agree. No more tiny homes in our municipality. Like, I'm from District 2, grew up here. My mom's here. My mom's not coming to this, but the other counties should help. All right, so we cannot have all the tiny homes. So my plan is, we already spent $165 million in 2024 on homeless. That's $13,000 and $890 per every homeless individual. That's 13 grand of your taxpayers without any results. So this is my plan. I will implement a housing first strategy that removes barriers to entry, just like in Houston and Milwaukee, and ensure supportive services follow stable housing. I will unify a response system by reforming KCRHA and creating a Seattle Homeless Operations Center to oversee shelter placements, encampments, and real-time data tracking. I will push for a single intake system across all housing programs and require all service providers to use a coordinated entry model to prevent displacement. I'll support rent stabilization, community land trusts, tax relief for low-income homeowners, and upzone areas equitably, not just where it's politically convenient. I will use Governor Inslee's anti-displacement mandate will be our foundation, but I'll go further, centering redline communities, community ownership, and housing justice.
Thank you. We are going to go to 1 minute answers now. I hope you enjoyed that 2 minutes. I hope y'all took advantage of it, but the time just goes by. And so I want to get to more questions. And then again, also some community responses as well. So I'm going to ask the next question, and I'm going to start it off by saying I'm Black. I am what you would probably call Black from folks who were enslaved historically. I don't consider myself BIPOC, and I'm not a recent African immigrant to this country. And so I'm not alone in this, even though the population of the Black community is about 6%. That means 94% of the people who you will be serving as your constituents, maybe they matter more. I don't know. So I'm asking this question. What are your plans for supporting historically, and this is for you, Bruce, to start with, what are your plans for supporting historically Black institutions and programs or creating new ones? And you have 1 minute.
I issued an executive order looking at the $200 million that we spend as procurements for the city. And I looked at Black-owned businesses to make sure that through the Liberty Project that we invest in these communities. Now, I'm not new to this work. I've been doing this work for like 30 years, even way before I was mayor. Through that Liberty Project, we're taking the business schools from the Seattle University, University of Washington with Tabor 100, and we are making sure that you get strategic planning, human resource planning, access to capital. I've also was the lawyer for the churches, the First AME Housing Corporation, Mount Zion Housing Corporation. So quite honestly, being I'm half Black. I think many of you know that. This work is a passion of mine because we believe in that standard of excellence. I was the one that banned the box because our community had a disproportionate amount of convictions and arrests in our community, and that's why I wanted to get them jobs. I'm sorry I only had 1 minute because I could speak for an hour on this subject.
1 minute, thank you. And Thaddeus, would you like the question repeated, or are you good?
Yes.
You want to repeat it?
Yes, please.
All right. The question is, what are your plans for supporting historically Black institutions and programs or creating new ones? You have 1 minute.
So I'd actually attack this from two different angles. First of all, this does go back to the affordability crisis. Across the nation, not just in Seattle, Black communities have a negative wealth value as compared to any other community, which has caused any business, any Black-owned business, any Black-owned business owner, any Black-owned worker to not have the capability to rise up in this system that we currently have. And that does come down to lowering rent, lowering our cost of living. And then finally, we need to actually deal with the actual systemic issues inside of our government. So one of which being the over-policing and structural disparagement of Black and Latino individuals across our city. Thank you.
And again, Joe, do you want the question repeated? And
No.
Are you good?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, because the question is, what are your plans for supporting historically Black institutions and programs or creating new ones? That's my question.
Yeah. So we've seen organizations on the south side of the Seattle take the lead on this. Wanawari, Black legacy homeowners, right? The examples of what we need to do have been put out there by the organizations, by the people. I know that one of the things that I've seen inside of city government that I told the story yesterday, so sorry, but there was a person working on the comprehensive plan that was trying to introduce a program to keep owners of homeowners, when they were approached by developers, to actually own units in the property, right? So this was an idea that was pitched by an employee in the city working with an organization that was shot down before it could make it into the comprehensive plan. Listen to those and take that lead, right? We need to actually reduce that the level of. Oh, that's okay.
That's time.
Sorry.
Ry, again, what are your plans for supporting historically Black institutions and programs or creating new ones? You have 1 minute.
Yeah, I really appreciate this. Hello, can you hear me? Check, 1, 2. Check, there we go. Okay, we're live. I really appreciate this question. I feel like a lot of the Black relationships I have in my life are the most sacred relationships. I feel like we as Seattle have to push Olympia to truly fund the reparations study that's coming out of our leaders at the state legislature, looking at leaders like Breonna Thomas and people that are leading that work, making sure that we can get young people into the Philip Randolph Institute and making sure that there are programs for people to actually step up and create leadership opportunities to have the next generation come forward and lead our city departments. And then finally, I think the arts are a bridge for common humanity. And if we can have artists actually live in the city with cooperative housing opportunities and actual grants, not just reimbursable grants, but grants where you can actually get the money up front for the cause you're trying to do, then we can actually have real change in the city through storytelling and through making sure that white people can get out of the way at times and create space for others to thrive. And I think that's what I want to see from a beautiful, diverse Seattle.
Thank you. Katie, what are your plans for supporting historically Black institutions and programs or creating new ones?
Thank you. Yeah, this is a vital question. And I spent my whole career working with communities, community organizations on the issues that impact them. So as mayor, I will work hand in hand with organizations, Black-led organizations rooted in Black communities in the central area in Southeast Seattle on policies and programs to prevent displacement and to build community wealth. For example, I think that we can do a lot more to assist lower income, moderate income homeowners who want to build ADUs on their property or who want to develop multifamily housing on their property so that our Black communities are building wealth that can root them in these neighborhoods for the long term. Yeah.
Thank you. Isaiah, same question. What are your plans for supporting historically Black institutions and programs or creating new ones?
All right, so my brother owns a business. I happen to be Black. So I will create a Seattle Worker Transition Fund for workers at risk of displacement. Example, hospitality, retail with city-state nonprofit partnership. I would expand apprenticeship access via Office of Economic Development in partnership with unions and South Seattle College. I would push to fund a public bank feasible study for long-term city control over lending, housing, and investments. I also would, so there's a Seattle Business Community Fund, right? That's already existed. It's a pilot program that acquires commercial properties. It fixes rent, preserves local business and BIPOC community. I identify myself as BIPOC. Okay, I'm a BIPOC member. All right, so my plan would be to scale the BCO fund for my pilot to a citywide targeting 5 neighborhoods per year: CD, Brainerd Valley, Beacon Hill, South Park, White Center, adding roughly 10 properties annually, securing space for 20 small businesses. I would prevent displacement, stabilize rent for 100 mom and pop shops in 5 years.
Thank you. And finally, Joe, and as you can see, being Black is not one monolithic thing. Some folks may identify as BIPOC, some folks may identify as African immigrant. I identify as Black. And my question is, what are your plans for supporting historically Black institutions and programs or creating new ones?
There's 2 institutions that come to mind. The first one is RISE, and 2 or 3 other organically created organizations that support Black mothers and Black fathers and Black siblings who have lost children to gun violence. I met this morning with 8 women who have suffered that loss in the last 7 years. They reached out to me because they heard about my candidacy and they've been unhappy with the response from the Seattle Police Department. The other thing I would do is invest in Black artistic institutions. The Royal Esquire Room, it's such a magnificent place for Black folks to come together in community from all over the county. My wife and I stumbled in there a couple of years ago. My wife's from Turkey, and they welcomed us with such great warmth. Yeah, well, to tell you the truth, I was at, well, sir, I love you. I love you, sir. I wasn't spying.
Hey, Joe.
I was 2 years ago.
Joe,
I was entertaining my immigrant wife.
Joe. That is time. And if you want to make a statement, I appreciate what you're doing, but you can come up.
Can I have 30 rebuttal on the gentleman?
Further, but we're going to go on to the next. Bruce, did you have a rebuttal? 30 seconds, please turn on Bruce's microphone.
So what became painfully obvious is no one really has a plan. I talked specifically about the Liberty Project. I talked specifically about the equitable development improvement where we have funded $22 million and awarding to 42 projects because we need to preserve and optimize the Black community, defined as multi-generational, those who have multi-generational parents or grandparents here that were born here in the city, that come from the descendants of the slaves, including my grandfather.
And that's time. Any other rebuttals? We'll move on to the next question.
I don't think they have a rebuttal.
Oh,
I think they want a new set of questions.
Ollie, we're going to start with you, and this question will be directed towards you initially, Thaddeus.
I'm going to go with one of our rapid fire questions, if that's okay with you. Do you support the City of Seattle efforts to support Black-owned businesses, even if the federal government believes it is a race base? And this is just strictly a yes or no question.
It is a yes or no, and that's how you want it answered?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you repeat it one more time, Thaddeus? Yes or no, or you can say I can't answer that in yes or no.
Yes, I support.
Joe?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
Isaiah?
Of course. Yes.
Absolutely yes.
Yes.
Rachel, next question.
Okay, I'm going to be a little more in the weeds. So Sound Transit is expanding light rail to West Seattle and Ballard, which includes 6 new stations and a new tunnel in downtown Seattle. What is one step you would take to mitigate the construction impact on businesses, from smaller businesses like Marination and South Lake Union to larger employers like Nordstrom, including historically underserved areas like the CID?
And Joe, we're going to start with you, Molloy.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So, I mean, development is always going to cause like growing pains. We're going to have issues when we want to expand the light rail in certain neighborhoods. Businesses are going to be impacted. Making sure there's clear walkways and disability accessible walkways still at all times during this business, during these businesses, making sure that we're keeping the Office of Economic Development and our Department of Transportation on top of our projects so that they're staying on timelines, and keeping our paths clear, keeping the access is the biggest thing for businesses like this. We could also look at expanding, especially when it's transit-based services, look at other modes of transit to get people into the same areas while we're working to develop light rail especially. And I have to say this at this point too, we really need to look at our long-term our long-term light rail plans and things like this away from our corporate institutions. It's like the reason why we're having certain ones of these, hubs, transit hubs at these spots is because we're not connecting with our communities about where we want those stations.
That's time. And Ry.
Thank you. I am excited to see light rail in more than just one line, an interconnected system. I would want to have town halls around those stations and talk to the actual constituents affected. I know that my friend Lynette and her family of 5, a Black family, is going to be displaced by one of those stations in West Seattle. I know that the Youngstown Arts Center might be destroyed or displaced as well. So there are huge cultural impacted places that we want to protect in this city, and we want to make sure that we can mitigate that harm with real money attached to it, or we can actually make sure that we can make sure that they can continue to operate their business during construction. I was excited to see Mayor Harrell increase the permitting process and make that go faster. I think we have to be even bolder and push faster and faster to make sure that people can get access to light rail. It's one of the largest increases of economic development in our city, and it's going to actually help working families so much.
Thank you. Katie, same question. Would you like the question repeated?
No, that's good. Yeah, this is a great question. A couple of specific things. So one thing that I've heard is that the compensation for businesses that are severely impacted or even displaced by light rail construction is really, really stingy. I don't know what all of the legal kind of rules around that are, but I think we really need to compensate those businesses better. And another thing is that the way that we often do this construction is we kind of try to minimize impacts, but that means that it goes on longer and longer and longer, and it leads to this kind of slow death for a lot of these businesses. I think we need to consider sometimes how we can expedite construction, even if that's going to have a longer, shorter term impact, and figure out how to work with businesses to relocate. I have a whole bunch of ideas for how to help small businesses start and expand, and I think that could, we can get light rail faster, and we can do better by the businesses that are being affected.
Thank you. And we're going to go to Isaiah. If I want to take an audience question, so I want to keep this going. So if somebody wants to come up now. And then when we finish this, we'll get to that question. So if you have a question or a comment, come up now. Isaiah, same question. Would you like the question repeated, or are you good?
Yes, the question repeated. That would be nice, sir.
Okay, Sound Transit is expanding light rail to West Seattle and Ballard, including 6 new stations and a new tunnel in downtown Seattle. What is one step you would take to mitigate the construction impact on businesses, from smaller businesses like Marination and South Lake Union to large employers like Nordstrom, including historically underserved areas like the CID? Business mitigation during construction.
So mitigation means to stop the interference of the business or keep the business open for operation, or the business want to buy out?
Yes.
So the business want to buy out. My degree's in real estate. So I have an 8 degree in real estate. We would give them a fair market value comparable analysis if they wanted to buy out instead of lowballing, like what Katie was saying. And if they wanted to stay, when does the construction starts? All right. So yeah. So I think I think the constructions don't start till 2027, 2028. Yeah. So it's too far to predict, but if the business want to stay, we give them a fair market value using the comparative analysis of the business they could sell, or then we would just have a forum, a meeting to see if they want to stay, and then we would negotiate farther later.
Joe Mallahan.
Yeah, I think we should definitely subsidize small businesses that are impacted. I don't think Nordstrom needs a lot of help. I do think providing good access and making sure that traffic flow is as best as could be is really important. I'll tell you what I think is even more important. We have to improve the safety of Columbia City, Othello, Rainier Beach. I've been down there handing out lit. I decided not to hand out lit in Othello because it's too damn dangerous. The traffic there is going way too fast. I have a larger proposal to use technology to mitigate traffic speeds, but I also think we need gates and stuff. I lived in Tokyo and Istanbul and places like that where pedestrians are not exposed to what pedestrians are exposed to. And I'm sure, I've talked to a lot of y'all over the years about the fact that why are we above ground? But we are, and I'm sorry about that, but we have to take investments and make things safer down there. I was blown away on the 10 mornings I've been down there, and so that's where I invest.
Isaiah, did you want to rebut what Joe Mallahan said?
Yes.
30 seconds.
Yes, Joe. So I'm from Othello Station. We lived there since '91, before light rail. That's our station. It's not dangerous because I live there. I'm from there. It's safe. It's a local thing. So it's just like, only thing that Sound Transit needs is more restrooms from Tukwila Station to downtown. We just need restrooms at Mount Baker or Beacon Hill in between. That's all I'm asking. Thank you. But Othello is safe.
Bruce, would you like an answer to that? Would you like the initial question repeated? Okay.
What an executive should do is act executive-like. And by that, I mean they should first issue an executive order to speed up the process, taking 1 year off the construction period. We actually did that. What an executive should do is create an Office of the Waterfront and Special Projects and Civic Projects for Sound Transit and dedicate 50 employees to the acceleration of the link, the Ballard Link and the West Seattle Link. We've actually done that. What an executive should do is be well-versed in what mitigation funds are. We created the Rainier Valley Community Development Fund because Black businesses were going to be displaced by light rail. I incorporated that organization. I want that same organization to be the business mitigation entity. We raised $50 million for that fund. That same entity to help with businesses mitigate their damages when we build up the light rail. Those are the three things we do. That's how an executive thinks to strategically deal with a problem of this magnitude.
Thaddeus, would you like the question repeated, or are you good? Okay.
What I'd like to focus on with this question in particular is the design review process, and specifically what happens with the public comment section. One of the major reasons why our sound transit systems take so long to get put into place is because we allow way too many cooks in the kitchen when it comes to creating these plans. And what that also creates is well-to-do individuals screaming and yelling about how their rental home or their house is going to be displaced. And that causes underserved communities to bear the brunt of our light rail systems. And that is not how we should be building our public transit systems. We should be building it to serve our communities, not just those with money. That is one of the major reasons why we have a 9-year process before I'm going to be able to see West Seattle without getting in a car.
Okay, we're going to go to the audience. Kai, would you cut that light on, please? Yeah, cut it on so that we can. So you will be in front of the camera, and the first question is it a question or a statement? No, give it to somebody who's ever first in line.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for all of you who are running for mayor and do not know what a mayor does. Anyone who thinks that you could take a 50-year problem and solve it in one term, you're infantile. You aren't thinking straight. I support Bruce. I will always support Bruce, because Bruce's father supported me when I came here in 1968, and we were recruiting for career jobs in the city of Seattle. That was my job. And his uncle and his father, the Harrell brothers, supported me. I am now 80 years old. And to see the son of these men doing this work, I watched him from 10 years old grow up. Now, for Joe without housing, I govern organization First Place. I've always been supported by the homeless. That's what we did. 30 more seconds. And I want to say to you, let me help you get you into home. I will do that for you, but I won't vote for you as mayor. And I suggest everyone understand that Bruce Harrell cannot fix in one term. We have to stop having these one-term mayors. This is ridiculous.
Okay, let's go to the. Thank you, Don. And we'll take another question from our audience. This is a wild card. I used to take live phone calls on the radio, so I love this.
I have a question for the candidates. It may
Okay.
not be as exciting.
For all of the candidates? Or
would you choose how you want to mediate it once you hear the
no,
question?
I mean, go ahead. Is your question for all the candidates or one in particular?
It is in the sense of who's going to be our mayor.
Okay.
Okay. First, Mr. Benton, thank you for creating a forum at this historic Columbia City Theater for the upcoming mayoral elections. I would consider this a creative third space. This question comes from Save the Hen. We are the community members of the Little Red Hen, located in Green Lake since 1968. The Little Red Hen is celebrating its 92nd birthday this year, established in 1933 on Finney Ridge until it moved to its current location. Looking at the topics of your forum, we believe that this issue falls squarely under small business and growth. With the necessary strategy of high-density housing, we look to the Little Red Hen as a creative third space. In addition, we are proud to have regular community members all up and down the I-5 corridor, all east and west of the Cascades. It's a central location that matters. Our community members span all spectrums you can think of: politics, gender, age, race, and ability. In cultivating an inclusive, creative community, we build connections and bridges.
I'm sorry, I'm going to have to get to the questions.
Deep and authentic relationships. Man, you're missing up on all the points. So the question is, though, how will you work with the City Council, preservation entities such as the Landmark Preservation Board and Historic Preservation of King County, or other avenues that we have yet to discover, to ensure that development preserves essential creative third spaces that are the cultural heritage of Seattle?
Thank you. And it's not personal, just trying to get on time.
Okay.
And we're going to start with you, Ry. First answer to this question.
Yeah, as an arts person, I really appreciate this question. I think I'm hearing from local artists right now that we're seeing a huge contraction of a market. Seattle Shakes and Act Theater are combining. Fifth Avenue Theater is letting go of its space to lease with STG. Our local arts community is not what it once was because people can't afford to live here anymore. So I think we have to create density so that we can have housing for people, but also be so laser focused on protecting the spaces that matter to our communities. Like this beautiful theater that has reopened.
I'm going to keep you at 30 seconds. Just
I love it. Thank you. Yeah, perfect.
Thank you. And Katie, would you like to answer that question?
Okay, with just 30 seconds, I'm going to say one idea. So I think the city should explore in some dense commercial areas doing a master lease where the city actually takes control of a whole bunch of kind of ground floor retail and can have a lot more control over leasing that out to small businesses, cultural institutions, and basically be able to support more varied use community spaces in our business districts. And that could include supporting and making sure that we're preserving cultural spaces like this.
And Isaiah, 30 seconds.
So the question is about the Little Red Hen.
You
It's
want to
closing.
repeat the question again, please? Just the question.
The Little Red Hen in Green Lake.
Yeah, the Little Red Hen in Green Lake, and it's how will you work with preservation entities or other avenues to keep these creative third spaces protected as an aspect of our development?
So the question is it closing?
Well,
Is it shutting down?
ideally, city council members and other elected officials could get the building owners to the table to resolve this lease issue. And we're scrambling to try to figure out historic preservation. And so that's where do we get help to do this? We're like the kids stuck in a divorce right now.
So you want me to help you find a loophole to keep it open?
Well, it's bigger than Save the Hen. I mean, I didn't get through my whole rambling piece, but there's
Yeah.
all these creative communities. I mean, I met Seattle Music is Real coming through here yesterday, and we have so many creative hubs in Seattle.
I'm going to have to keep going if you can't. Whatever your answer is.
I don't have an answer for that one because last time I was there, they kicked me out.
All right, Joe.
For you that don't know, the Little Red Hen is basically the Royal Esquire Club for the white folks on the north side. It's great. It's a great place, and as the lady said, lots of folks, lots of different cultures, lots of different perspectives congregate there, and they have that right. To tell you the truth, Miss, I'm not an expert on historical preservation laws, and so I'm not gonna kid you. So, but I think it's a great institution. I hope it's resolved.
Bruce.
So yes, I've worked with dozens and dozens of entities to protect their rights under the historical preservation laws. And I'm very committed to that body of work, being from Seattle. Two things. Number one is one reason why I upped B&O tax and exempted 90% of small businesses, because it's those kind of businesses like the Little Red Hen that we need to keep in the city. Number two, if you look at our capital access program where you could actually buy the place, the details where we could pay up to down to 20% of the principal and up to $30,000 on a qualifying business loan.
Thank you, Bruce.
Check into that, because that's a critical tool for you.
And Thaddeus.
I do want to keep focus on the portion that you actually brought up, and that was the fact that you are dealing with a lease problem. The owners are the ones not wanting to lease the building to you due to the fact of that they want to charge more. They want to charge someone else who will pay more. This is entirely an affordability problem that needs to be conducted against every single corporate large landowner that happens to work and operate in this city.
And Joe Molloy.
Thank you. So historic preservation is obviously a great tool to work with something like this. One of the things that we wanted to look at, exactly, it's not an option, was a cultural and artistic preservation point. Yeah, and I'm sorry I didn't get to bring this up with a similar question earlier. Ran out of time, but that's one of the key things that we're looking at is, can we preserve institutions like this based on what the community in that neighborhood wants? It's a cultural preservation that doesn't have the same kind of requirements that a historic one would.
Okay, thank you. And we're going to go to the next question quickly, either question or a statement. Don't be mad if I cut you off, but we're almost out of time. 30 seconds.
30 seconds, quick rebuttal. The Royal Esquire Club was started in 1948 because 5 black men were not allowed to patronize other clubs in the city. Let's make that clear. And I'm not sure why you say it's like the Little Red Hen. I don't know their history in that regard, but a totally different setup. And the Royal Esquire Club was a recipient of the Equitable Development Initiative because we want to preserve those kinds of clubs in Seattle. And that becomes critical work. So I think it's important to know the history before you start saying one club is like the other.
And that is fine. Thank you. And your question?
My question is about community resiliency.
15 seconds. Can you cut Joe Mallahan's mic on?
Hey, folks, I love you all. I know you're stacked against me, and that's okay. I was just making a joke. Maybe you prefer I make a joke about the Seattle Supersonics going back, Mayor. Maybe that's a more appropriate joke.
Okay, I'm gonna keep going. Go ahead.
My question is about community resilience. Excuse me, guys. My question, please. My question is about community resiliency. If you look at the emergency response plan for a Cat 5 earthquake or something, who up there is qualified to save lives?
We'll start with you, Katie. 30 seconds.
Sorry, can we repeat the question?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah,
At the end of the day, I
if
think
a Cat 5 earthquake happens, who is up there prepared to save the lives of the people of the city of Seattle? This is a community resiliency question.
Yes.
Katie, 30 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, we need to be improving our earthquake preparedness, absolutely. And if the big one comes, like, the whole community is going to need to rally together and protect each other, and the city is going to be, at the forefront of that.
Isaiah.
So if the earthquake comes, we would give the geologists, the UW, we'd come with a strategic exit strategy. That's the only way I can think of that. But if an earthquake comes, I was here at Franklin Quaker when the last earthquake was. I was in the basement of when the 6.2 earthquake happened, and we were just sitting around. But yeah, that's a good question. But I would just get with the seismic geologist at UW. We'd come with a plan with the scientists. But yeah, I don't really have a great plan for that. That's a good question, though.
Joe Mallahan.
Again, we have a county and city emergency, like a FEMA, if you will, for local disasters, and we just have to ensure that those systems are well developed. We're using the best technology. And your earlier question, I am trained in CPR. I learned it. I am, because I adopted 2 children. It was a requirement. And I also have suffered. I've been in a huge earthquake in Istanbul, and I've been in multiple earthquakes in Tokyo, and it's a real concern. And we need very competent emergency response, which I think we have.
Bruce.
Earthquakes fires, floods. We spend an inordinate amount of time, but you don't see the work we're doing, making sure you are safe if any of the big ones come. We spend an inordinate amount of time, and we'll continue to do that work. Not cool, sexy work, you don't hear about it, but we grind it out to make sure you're safe.
Thaddeus.
One of the few times I actually do agree with Bruce here. There is this is where we do actually rely on our city workers to actually maintain our systems for the small pieces, so that when these large pieces come up, we actually have the systems prepared and ready to go. As a veteran, I've been a part of many rapid response teams, both within the military and outside of it, and I would genuinely enjoy digging into that process with our greater allies within the state and the county.
Thank you, Joe Molloy.
Yeah, so what needs to be expanded on this, like we have these institutions and these models in place, the ability for community to protect community and support each other. So our plan to address homelessness, sorry, this is breaking down, I'm just gonna keep going. Our plan to address homelessness, a key part is expanding, getting neighborhoods to help expand emergency shelter, so that if we face these things, small neighborhoods, different areas throughout the city are empowered to actually go out and stand up these emergency spaces without the city.
And Ry.
Yeah, the Office of Sustainability and Environment has great maps of tracking what would happen in case of that earthquake or the big one. I would want to make sure that every neighborhood has a plan and they know where they're going and where they're headed, and they have that in their household. They know they're going to X community center or X library to make sure they're safe. Also, I would love to be there on the ground as mayor. I'm an Eagle Scout. I'm a rescue scuba diver. I would be fighting, going through rubble, and making sure that we are all taking care of each other. I asked the port this exact question in 23, and they said clean up after. So I think we have to have a plan.
So what we're going to do now, I'm just going to take one more audience question, and then I'm going to allow our panelists to ask a rapid fire question, and then we're going to take final comments from our candidates. Thank you, everyone, for being here. One more question, or is it a statement?
Oh, it's a statement.
Okay.
First, I'd like to thank you, Tony, for putting this together. It's good. Let's give him a round of applause. I would like to say, Joe, you remind me of two people, Jenny Durkins and Donald Trump. Your substance is garbage, your attitude is horrible, and your tactics are unacceptable. I said it online, and I mean it. As you go on your negative attacks against the mayor, we won't tolerate it, right? We would prefer, and we will, listen to your points, but you veer off with no substance, and we won't deal with it. That, I mean the Black community. And I'm not playing with you either. The rest of you, there seems to be a calculated attack to try to conspiracize against the mayor and use Garbage Joe as the spokesperson. Garbage Man Joe. We won't tolerate that from anybody.
Sir, I love you.
You don't have to love me.
No, I do love you.
You know what I mean?
You know what?
Just respect me. You don't have to love me.
Okay, thanks. Thank you. You're going to have 30 seconds to respond.
Yeah, again, I appreciate your perspective. I understand your perspective. And I love you, and I want to serve you. I honestly do. The mayor's African American. He's a Black man. I understand that. But you have to speak truth to power, regardless of whether that power is Black or white. And that is what I'm doing. I believe the mayor is a misogynist, and I believe he disrespects women leaders, and he's in. You don't want to hear it.
And that's time. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
And you
I'm
have
sorry.
a
I'm going to
subtle anti-Black.
have to cut it off.
You have a subtle.
Take the microphone. I can't. I'm going to have to cut it off. Jim, I'm going to have to cut it off. I'm going to have to cut it off because we're almost out of time here. I already got these guys on overtime, so I have to respect that. And I had some other people who were in front of you, so we're going to do another quick question. And I am sorry. So Rachel, you want your final question? Oh, I know. I get about it, but yeah. So don't be mad at me. I'm just sorry. I'd love to do this all day. Believe me, I'd like to do it again, and I'd like to do it till 10 o'clock. But I'm trying to. So did everybody get a chance to?
I would like to rebuttal.
15 seconds.
Yeah, I'm from here. My mom lives right down the street. All right. So we're not against nobody. To conspire to say we're all against Bruce Harrell, We're not. I voted for Bruce Harrell in 2021. All right, so we're not here against that. I'm from this district, and we're all here trying to take leadership roles. And you guys think it's better? Everybody here is just trying to be a leader. Thank you.
Thank you, Isaiah. Rachel, your final rapid fire question, hopefully, so that we can get a quick answer.
We're going to do this kind of together. So I'll go first. If Adam Smith in his run for Congress asked you to endorse him, would you?
We'll start with you, Isaiah.
I would not.
Joe.
I would. He's a strong Democratic leader.
Bruce.
I already have, so yes.
Thaddeus.
I would not. Free Palestine.
Joe.
I would not.
Ry.
I'd be open to a conversation, but right now I would not.
Kate.
I would not.
Next question.
If Shama Sawant run for Congress and asked you to endorse her, would you?
Joe. Mallahan.
I oppose Shama Sawant's tactics, and I would absolutely not endorse her.
Bruce.
No.
Thaddeus.
Conversation, but currently leaning no.
Joe. Molloy.
I would not.
Ry.
I would also not.
Katie.
I would not.
Cynthia, or excuse me, Rachel. Next question, quickly, please. Oh, Isaiah.
I definitely would. I'm a child protester. I would support her.
All right. Rachel, next question.
Do you believe climate justice must include racial equity?
I think Joe got Bruce, this is for you.
Yes.
That is.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, they are intrinsically linked.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Isaiah. What was the question?
Do you believe that climate justice must include racial equity?
Yes.
Joe.
Yes, of course.
And Rachel, or excuse me, Ollie, last question.
Do you support exempting small businesses with revenue less than $2 million from the B&O tax as proposed by the city of Seattle?
Oh, I'm sorry, Thaddeus.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, and I hope the council passes it.
Yes.
Yes.
Less than 2 million, yes, but I think the mayor's current proposal is very ill-advised and doesn't take into consideration.
Okay.
You know what? Trump was great at making nicknames too. So
Hold on. You guys can do this afterwards. We can get through this. So, did everybody get an opportunity to do that? Bruce? Okay, thank you. This is just, again, we're going to give you now your opportunity for final statements. Thank everyone for being here. This is just my personal question, and you can answer it yes, or you can say, again, I mentioned 6% of the population maybe is what is Black right now. I am Black. I'm not BIPOC. I'm not African immigrant. And my question is there, from your perspective, a Black community in Seattle? And if the answer is yes, where is it? So we'll start with you, Joy. Is there a Black community in Seattle? If it's yes, where is it?
Do you want me to just say yes, or just yes, or where is it?
If it's yes or no.
I mean, it's yes, it's here. It's
Where is it? Where community? Where is that community?
It's right here. It's
South
throughout
Seattle, are you
yes,
saying?
no, it's throughout the entire city. I meant here in this room right now, just because of the way
Okay,
that
I'm
you're
just
bringing
asking
it.
for the neighborhood. Is there
The
a Black-
neighborhood, it's supposed to be everywhere. I know why it's concentrated in South Seattle, and it's not. That's not how
Thank
we
you.
should be operating.
Ry, is there a Black community in Seattle? And if the answer is yes, where is it?
I would love to see it back in the Central District, and I think it's.
Is there one here now?
I'd say in the South End, there's a diaspora of individuals, but I love the Black community in Seattle.
Okay.
But I wouldn't say it's necessarily there's one specific neighborhood.
Katie, is there a Black community in Seattle? If yes, where is it?
There is. It's not just in one place. The central area, Southeast Seattle, is certainly kind of historically the Black community, but it's also been displaced and is now spread all around our region.
Okay, Isaiah, same question. Is there a Black community in Seattle? If yes, where is it?
Yeah, there's 6.7% of us in Seattle, and there definitely is a Black community in Seattle.
Where at?
Oh, there's South End, Seattle, Rainier Beach,
Okay.
West Seattle,
Okay, thank you. Joe, same question. Is there a black community in Seattle? If yes, where is it?
Yeah, there's absolutely a black community in Seattle, and it is in places like Tabor 100. It's in our historical black churches, and it's everywhere that black folks have the opportunity to congregate. And I think we should do everything we can to maintain that community.
Bruce, same question. Is there a black community in Seattle? If there is, yes, then where is it?
A strong, brilliant, resilient community. 98122, 98144, 98118, 98178.
Thank you. Thaddeus.
There is a strong a black community in the south end of Seattle, and I would happily see it grow to everywhere within Seattle.
Okay, I think we started with you, Joe, right? So we're good. I would like to give each of you now an opportunity for final comments. I'm going to give you 1 minute and 30 seconds. It was going to be 1 minute, but we're wrapping up. I appreciate your time. We went a little overtime, but I do think that the audience is very engaged, and so you use this 1 minute and 30 seconds however you want to, and we are going to stop at 1:30. And so, Isaiah, we will start with you. This is your closing statement. This is what you are going to leave our audience that is here with, and those who are watching literally from everywhere as well. Thank you for running for mayor.
So my mission is to build a city that works for everyone, not just the well-connected few. Through transparent grassroots collaborations and data-driven solutions, I will champion housing that's truly affordable, public safety rooted in community trust, a city economy that uplifts working families and small businesses. This campaign is more than a bid for office. It's a movement. It's a movement to make government accountable, accessible, and responsive to the voices of everyday residents of Seattle. With the people's voice as our banner, I will ensure that policy decisions are shaped not in backrooms, but in open forums by the people, for the people. Together, we will lead Seattle toward a just, vibrant, and inclusive future, one where justice flows like a river and the voices of the overlooked are heard and empowered. My name is Isaiah Willoughby, and I'm running for mayor of Seattle, and we're the future. I'm 40, and we're the future.
Thank you, Isaiah. Joe, 1 minute and 30 seconds, closing statements.
Thank you again, Tony, for the fantastic opportunity to be here. I'm going to give a little different answer than I give in most forums. I have a black nephew. I also have a black. Could you respect me enough?
Keep going, Joe.
I have a black man who's 39 or 40 years old who calls me his father. Okay?
Keep going, Joe. Keep going, Joe. You guys give him a break. Yeah. Otherwise, cost aside. Keep going, Joe. If you don't keep going, you're not going to get through your 1 minute and 30 seconds.
I was an Obama delegate to the Washington State Democratic Convention. I doorbelled for Obama in Indiana. I raised $20,000 for Get Out the Vote efforts in North Carolina for Kamala Harris. I am a lifelong Democrat, and my only goal is to love you and serve you the best I can. And you obviously have a lot of pain, and I'm happy to talk to you. I'd love to have a cup of coffee with the garbage man guy so you can get to know me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Bruce, 1 minute and 30 seconds for your final statement. Again, same thing I was telling Isaiah, this is what you're going to leave everybody with who is not only in this room, but also watching, and this will be lasting forever, so folks will be able to watch on demand.
Well, I've given everything I could to love this city and to love this community. And I think that, to be very clear with you, the argument for white supremacy has reached new levels in this country. And the reason why we are so passionate about not attacking one's character, believing that we need to see the best in one another. That's how Seattle is going to win. This community, this beloved community, and you know I'm biracial. I grew up around black folk. I married a beautiful black woman. But you use the word, I love you, I love you. I don't even know if you know this guy you said you love. But what we have to do is we have to get past the attacks, and we have to fight for people to be able to live in Seattle. This is tough work. If any mayor had it completely figured out, we wouldn't have this problem in these major cities in Seattle. Make no mistake about it. Seattle is a beautiful, awesome city. We are leading. We can show this country what race and social justice stands for, what income inequality stands for, how we preserve a Black community in Seattle. We can show the country. That's why I'm running for re-election. I have other choices I could do, but I will not give up on you. This is tough work. I work 7 days a week. I have people here that know how hard I work, and I don't do it for me. So when my character is attacked, it is very hurtful.
Thank you, Bruce.
But we are winners.
Thank you. Thaddeus, you have 1 minute and 30 seconds, Thaddeus, for your final comment. And please keep going because the time will keep running. So 1 minute and 30 seconds.
So, and I've run for mayor. This is the first time that I've run for office, and I'm genuinely happy for the entire opportunity to come talk to all of you. This has been just a completely elucidating process, and I'm happy to share my expertise with all of you. I'm sad that we did not get to talk about the state of the Seattle Police Officers Guild and the Seattle Police Department within a community that's been historically underserved and brutalized by that institution. And I would have loved to bring with you my expertise to that. I'll be here afterwards to talk with you as well. I have nowhere else to be. And genuinely, this has been a phenomenal time. And I am glad to have at least had your ear and look to serve you, because as I work with the FAA and I continue to work in my public service, I will never stop serving the communities that empower me and that I want to bring up. Thank you.
Thank you, Thaddeus. Joe Molloy, 1 minute and 30 seconds, same deal. This is your final opportunity, at least during this candidate forum, to appeal to your constituency.
Thank you, Tony. I did not participate in this race to attack people or to disparage anyone's character. I live on the front lines of what I think, what I feel, what I think a lot of people feel is the biggest issue that's impacting our city. And it impacts every vulnerable community. It impacts every neighborhood. It impacts every one of our day-to-day lives. And we just flat aren't doing the things that we need to be doing in order to see a change. And I don't mean a change as in we have to end homelessness forever for everyone, or that we need to see some kind of, socialist dreamscape where everybody's got all their needs met and there's no conflict, right? That's never going to happen. But we need to be taking the steps to treat this like a real emergency, to acknowledge the communities that are impacted most, which is on the south side of Seattle. We get less services here. We have a bigger diaspora here. And this is the way, this is the path. Through solving homelessness, through addressing this in a real way, is the path to impact every other issue we face as a city. We need to build our social services, our local social services from the bottom up. And it starts by acknowledging housing as a human right, food access as a human right, and income as a human right. Thank you.
And Ry, same thing, same opportunity for you. Your final opportunity, at least here at the Columbia City Theater, to address our South Seattle audience, or maybe some folks aren't from South Seattle, wherever they're from. And for, of course, those who are listening on Rainier Avenue Radio through all of our broadcast media networks. And again, this will last forever. It'll be on demand as soon as we're done here tonight.
Thank you. Thank you for that. You know, I want real change in this city. I am looking at climate catastrophe heading towards our region. And so many people, when I stepped forward to put myself out there, said, good luck, you can't do that, or laughed in my face. And I think that's a problem. I think we need a next generation of leadership. And I think we have to create space at the table for those next leaders to show up. Specifically as a trans person right now in 2025, the least I can do is show up and say that trans people deserve to be here, despite what Donald Trump says on the national level. Seattle has always been the place for queer community to thrive. In the 90s, during the AIDS epidemic, people came here to die with decency. And so Seattle will never change. It will always be my home. And I think there is a shared love for this city that we want to fight for today. So to the people who have treated me with silence, underestimate me. Watch me coming, because we're gonna carve a new tree to make a new table to have a seat at, whether you like it or not. And I think that sort of struggle makes the entire city stronger. So I'm fighting for a next generation of leadership that this country and this Democratic Party desperately needs. And if you want to support us, you can send your democracy vouchers on over, and we can hopefully continue to get the word out. So thank you for the time tonight. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. And Katie, thank you for coming. I appreciate the fact that you actually rearranged your schedule. I know that I didn't give y'all much time, but at the same time, as you can see, it's important that you address our community. So thank you for changing your schedule, getting here where you did. Now you have 1 minute and 30 seconds to make up for that 45 minutes that you missed earlier by sharing information with our audience, however you'd like to do that.
Okay, and I understand these words will live on forever, so I'm going to choose them carefully. So I moved to Seattle in 2004, over 20 years ago. And, my husband and I, we arrived here by Amtrak with our stuff in boxes. We didn't have money in the bank. We didn't have jobs lined up. And we were able to find a room to rent for $400 a month. Remember those days? And just find jobs and build a life here. I have watched this city transform so profoundly over the last 20 some years. And, obviously that's been driven by the growth of the tech sector and rapid population growth. And there's been a lot of good aspects to that transformation. But it has made Seattle a city that today is so hard to afford for so many of us. If you're not making six figures, rent is just out of control. Childcare is so expensive. I have an almost 2-year-old, and it's like paying another rent. Groceries are expensive. Everything is so expensive. And I have just watched too many friends, too many young families, too many people whose families had lived here for generations, too many elders being priced out of this city or living on a very tiny disposable income after those basic expenses. We need to do something about that. We can't have a vibrant city, a thriving city, when it is so unaffordable. That's why I'm running for mayor, and I'm honored to be here tonight with you all. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm going to ask everyone here to please give a round of applause for all of our candidates who are running for mayor of the city of Seattle. I will share with you, thank you for coming, and thank them for coming. We put this together in 8 days. 8 days. There had been other forums that had taken place, but there wasn't one that specifically addressed South Seattle. And so on July 3rd at 8 o'clock at night is when each of these candidates got a letter from me saying, would you like to participate? And that was the July 4th weekend. And so I'm happy that you all decided to take advantage of this opportunity. Obviously, we consider our neighborhood to be very important. And you may have heard some questions here that you like, that you don't like, that you disagree with. But this is what we do. As Rainier Avenue Radio, we broadcast 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We have over 80 members of our community who take the time to amplify their voices because our voices aren't always heard. Thank you all for coming. I'm going to ask the candidates, you guys do whatever you want to do. I don't know what your schedules are, but I'm going to ask you to come down here and talk to these folks. And you don't have to, but you're here now. And I think some folks would like to. Again, this is important. July 18th is when the ballots go out. July 18th is when your primary ballots go out. And you get one, and then the 5th is the primary. That's what you have. If you have not registered to vote, you can do that until July 28th to be registered for the primary. Okay, so if you haven't got your ballot by July 18th, try and check and get it, and then put your vote in. One of these folks will be the next mayor of Seattle. Thank you for coming, and some shameless propaganda. Seafair Weekend will have a reggae band here on Friday night and a Lenny Kravitz tribute on Saturday. That's it. That's all the time I have. That is going to do it for the kid. It's me, Tony B, saying, remember, whether you believe you can or whether you believe you cannot, you're probably right. Now, peace.